Hey there, how y'all doing today? As you can tell, I'm mid-pack explosion here, getting ready to pack up for my hike next week through the Smokies. And I thought I would just do a quick gear review because several things have changed in my kit from the last time I did one of these on the full setup. So I'm going to run through it kind of quickly. Some information about this will be in my lighterpack.com page, which will be linked in the description down below. And for now, let me walk you through real quickly what I'm going to go hike the trail with. So I'll start with the big three. It turns out it's going to rain a little bit on this trip, so I'm having to take a couple of precautions related to what could be a fairly heavy amount of rain the first couple of days on trail. So there's my REI. Use this as a point. There's my REI Flash 50 backpack. I've put some waterproofing stuff on the bottom of it, some Nick wax. And then I've got a pair of Nyloflume liners. I'm going to line the bag with one, and then inside of that I'm going to stuff everything, but I'm going to use the second one and put into it just my sleepwear and the things I want to make sure are dry in the evening when I get to camp. So that's my pack. For my tent, I've got my trusty X-Mid Pro 1. It's done well for me, and I like it. It goes up really quick. We'll see in storms in the Smokies how well it does, but I'm hopeful. I'm only carrying 8 stakes this time. 8 stakes is all that I've needed on any of the ones. In fact, I don't think I've used 8 stakes but once or twice. I've also got that little white thing is a little plastic cap that I push them into the ground with, and the stake bag is a Dyneema stake bag from Hilltop Packs. And I'll be sleeping on a quilt sleep system this time. That's this right here. It's an REI Helix wide, so it's 25 inches wide, normal length insulated sleeping pad. It's got an R value of 3.7 or 3.5 or something like that, which is plenty. I'm going to need this time because the lows at night are only going to be down into the mid 40s to the mid 50s. Below that, I've got my brand new Enlightened Equipment quilt. I can't remember which one it is. I'll put that in the list in the picture here in text. And then because my old pillow fit inside my sleeping bag, but now that I don't have a sleeping bag, I need a way to keep the pillow from rolling around all over the place. I bought a Treklogic. This is a Treklog. Anyway, this is my new hiking pillow. It's inflatable. It has a little hook on each end so I can strap it around the sleeping pad once it's inflated, and it will hold that in place. All of that is resting, you might see, on a piece of Nyloflume. You hear crinkling. I'm going to use that as underneath my X-Mid Pro as kind of a makeshift sort of a footprint. It won't cover everything about where I'm sleeping, but it should keep some of the water and dirt off the bottom of the tent since I expect to have a fair amount of rain this time. On to my eating and cookware stuff. This is, you may have seen in another video, this is my Ursack Large, and it stands now packed with a 7-day food supply in it for my first 7 days on trail coming out of Burningtown Gap. I'm taking 2 Ceanoc collapsible water bottles and a plunger and some other attachments and a spare sport cap, that kind of thing, for water sources. Now that I am cold soaking everything, this is my entire kitchen setup. I have this this collapsible bottle from a company called Hideaway that I make my morning coffee in. I have a spoon and a jar to cold soak my oatmeal in the morning and my meals in the evening in. And they're resting on an REI cloth. It folds out twice that big, but it serves as a placemat and also a thing to wipe up or wipe off condensation or water off of the Dyneema X-Mid Pro 1 tent on the nights when it rains or when I get a lot of that. So next up, I have, I'm going to cover what I'll be wearing while hiking. At the top up here, we have 33,000 feet is the brand. It's a, some people call it a fishing shirt. It's a long sleeve shirt with a collar and sleeves that roll up. I'll be wearing that over a Smart World t-shirt, and that's also my blue Swift cap, baseball cap style hiking cap at the top. And then I have also merino smart wool underwear, and these are KUHL, Cool brand hiking pants. These are the ones that are called Recon or something like that. I'll put that up now. I'm carrying, you might notice, two pairs of socks and 2 pairs of sock liners. I don't normally do that these days, except it's going to rain. So if my feet get to where the moisture is too much and my socks don't dry out at night, I wanted to have an option to switch out to a dry pair of socks. And I'll keep all that rolled up with the spares all rolled up with my sleeping stuff and a Dyneema bag that should keep them dry. Then, of course, my Dirty Girl gaiters I've been wearing for the full year now, and my Hoka Speed Goat 6s in a size 11 wide this time. And I went ahead and put my CNOC 3-liter bag and my filter here because I actually wear them. That is to say, they fit in little side pockets that are right on the side, just above my knee, on the KUHL Cool brand pants. So they're really worn, not carried in the backpack. So let's call this part the bad weather section. I have 2 concerns. One is if it rains and I get wet, that's not fun on trail, and I'll have to hike through it anyway. And I've hiked through it before. Obviously, I was on trail during Hurricane Helene last year, so I know how to do it, but this reflects my current thinking on how to do that. So here I have a new Outdoors Research helium raincoat. And then I have a couple of over mittens that are motorcycling mittens, but they're meant to just go over the top of another pair of gloves to keep you dry. This is the other pair of gloves right down here. It's they're fleece, also from Outdoor Research, and they do a pretty good job of keeping you warm, but they don't insulate at all. They don't keep you dry at all. So these two in combination, if I get cold and it's wet, should keep me dry and warmer. The yellow thing underneath the gloves is actually a fleece beanie to wear at night if I'm cold. The thing that says bins is a bug net. Next to it in its little purple bag is a Sea to Summit pack cover. And then above that is a buff from Burton. It's a little bit heavier than my other buffs, and I'm carrying that mainly in case my my Swift cap starts to get wet or not hold up well. The Swift cap is pretty lightweight and breathable. And so it may wet out really quickly. So I'll probably put it away if it gets to raining really hard and instead put the buff on underneath the raincoat. And then lastly at the top for warmth in the night when I'm cold, that's my Four Claws goose down puffy with a hood. So I'll try to get changed into my camp clothes and that puffy and that beanie as soon as I get into camp at night if I'm all wet, just to get dried out and warmed up. So below this, I have my sleepwear set up. So for sleepwear, I have, these are merino wool top and bottom long underwear from a company called Task, that's T-A-S-C, and then a pair of shorts from Columbia, and a pair of socks that are alpaca wool, and they're actually all compression socks. Those really help with my recovery at night, along with my recovery slides from Hoka to help my circulation of my lower legs stay good once I come off camp and come off trail and stop hiking, and I'm sitting around camp not moving as much. Then you might have noticed there's a white bag. That's actually a bear hang bag and a bear hang bagging kit next to it. I use the bear bag because it's Dyneema and it helps to keep things dry. So I'll put my spare pair of socks and all my sleep clothes in that during the day, and then I'll put those inside that other spare Nylaflume bag over there, along with my quilt and probably a few other things I want to make absolutely certain are dry, like if I'm not wearing the beanie or I'm not wearing the fleece gloves or certainly I'll be doing that with the puffy during the daytime. So all that stuff gets a double layer or even a triple layer of protection from getting wet when raining. I don't mind hiking in the rain so much as I really mind when I stop hiking in the rain and I'm wet and start to get cold and start shivering. So even the sort of hint of hypothermia is really kind of alarming to me. So I do a lot of things to make sure that I don't have that happen to me ever again, like it did when I hiked in Hurricane Helene. So now I'm down to the sundry other little gadgets and widgets and oddities that I take along when I hike. Hairbrush, a spare pair of prescription glasses. I think I may or may not take the Picardin bug lotion this time. Bugs are pretty bad on trail at this time of year, but if it's going to be raining a lot, that's probably going to tamp down the mosquitoes. So I don't know. I have to decide still about that. This is my collection of paperwork that I'll be taking with me, and I've talked about that enough in another video. There's a little urn of my mother's ashes. Mama was a huge fan of the Smokies, and she passed away in February of this year. So I take some of her ashes with me out on trail and distribute them at different viewpoints that either I know she saw and liked or that I think she would have liked had she ever gotten a chance to see them. So, the rest of the stuff goes in my hip belt, and this is my hip belt or my fanny pack or waist pack. You can see I have a knife. The knife has toenail clippers and a flashlight and scissors and a whole bunch of things in it. And a pen to write with, and then my Dyneema completely waterproof fanny pack. This has been a very great addition to my setup. And then I have a little elastic, like a workout stretchy band that helps me deal with cramps if I get them in my lower legs at camp at night. I have a couple of cork balls that I do the same thing with. It just I use all that to rub out any stiff spots in my muscles if I start to cramp up, or even if I'm just sore at night. It's a good kind of stretching exercise at the end of the day. And then I have that little white thing as a stand for my phone to shoot video from, in addition to the tripod that I'm holding, and some chapstick. So that's most of what goes inside the fanny pack along with my cell phone. Now next to that I have my electronics bag. There's always a little bit of weight involved here. And I take 2 USB-C cables. This is one of them. The other one is actually currently being used in the other room. And I have a pair of these earplugs, which do a really nice job. And then I take an old shuffle that I have around, an iPod shuffle, which has a bunch of folk music and things I like to listen to on it while I'm hiking, and also both of those two help to drown out chatter in the shelters if I'm trying to hit the hay early and other folks are up socializing and hanging out. I am this time carrying my Netflix pump. I know it's a little bit noisy. It's definitely a luxury item, but I tried a more economic, a more energy efficient and smaller pump last time, a little ultra lightweight thing, and it just did not get the job done fast enough to suit me at the end of the day. And I've switched out, this is my Anchor wall charger. I've switched out the 3-port one that I had last time around for this little 1-port one, because I find I don't need more than one of the plugins at a time. So this does a good job. That's an NU20 Nikkor headlamp. Those are 25, and those are 2 Nikkor 10 milliamp power banks. And of course my AT tag, hiker tag for this year, and my Garmin InReach Mini 2, both of which will go on the outside of my packs. Then I have my collection of small bags. It's my poop kit. It's got a trowel, some hand sanitizer, and 15 dude wipes in it to keep me all nice and tidy on trail. And then this is my first aid kit. So I think of that as first aid for both myself and my gear. I have some Imodium, and I have some Claritin D, and some Benadryl, and I also have some various kinds of vitamins and some melatonin in there, along with some tenacious tape to repair gear with, and some things to repair my inflatable gear with, should that break down. And then, of course, there's toothpaste and a collapsible traveling toothbrush in my toothpaste kit. And I'd probably put the toothpaste kit in the end inside of the toilet bag because I use them both in the morning at the same time. So, in the end, this is the full extent of Data's pack explosion for this next section hike on the AT, which will be between 115 and 150 miles from Burningtown Gap up to either Davenport Gap at Hartford, Tennessee, or clear on to Hot Springs.